Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to show you how you can use MSoundfactory to create a Shepard tone, or Risset Glissando. Is it Risset or Reset? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But basically what this is it's something that sounds like it's either going up or down infinitely. And so this is kind of like an auditory illusion. I believe this was made popular recently by Hans Zimmer in the Dunkirk soundtrack, but of course you can find it other places, etc. And so this one's a little bit difficult to make in a synthesizer, but luckily MSoundfactory is very powerful, so we can do it. And actually this is the only time I've actually used all the LFOs. But anyways, let's get started. So here's the initial patch. I'm turning the volume down a little bit. I turn the sustain all the way up. You can change these afterwards. They're not that important. But let's go into the generator now. So let's start. We're going to use an oscillator, and let's set it to a sine. I think that's the best waveform. You see it sine tone here. Now, the first thing I want to do is actually let's get a mixer, because we're going to need 4 of these oscillators set to the same thing. So go into mixer here. Now right click it, click input 1 and steal input 1. There we go. So let's just start right here, and let's choose this semitones. We want this to go up, so just ramp up, and we can choose the octave. So this has a wide range, so we can go all the way up to 4 octaves. So actually let's do that. So I'm going to assign LFO1 here, just drag it over, and now I'll just turn it, I think it's 50%, will be all the way up. So I'll just set this to 50. Okay, and then let's go to LFO1, and let's change this to something else. So now it's going to go up and then down. I don't want that. I just want it to go straight up. So I can use this, but this is going down, and I want it to go up. So we're going to go into advanced here and just click invert. Go out. Okay. And so if we listen to it now, it should go up. That's cool, but one, it's way too fast. So that part's not good. And we can go into here and fix that. Let's sync this up, and we can set it to a tempo. Let's set this to, let's say, 8. So we'll go up slowly. Like that. Actually, let's do it 4, so it'll be a little bit faster. It'll make the video faster. You can set it however you want later. So like this. There we go. But you'll notice, like, hey, that's not so good. It pops at the top. And that's going to kind of kill the seamless illusion. So what we're going to do here is, as soon as it gets to the top, or as it's getting close to the top, we want it to fade out in volume. And this is the thing that kind of drove me nuts. I spent almost a whole day figuring this out. But what you basically need to do is have this go in a circle. I'll show you later in the effects with an analyzer. But you want it to go all the way to the top, fade out as it gets to the top, and then fade back in once it returns to the bottom here. So let's go into the volume. Let's turn this all the way down at first. And I'm going to assign LFO 5. Since we're going to use 4 of these for the 4 different oscillators, we'll use 4 of these for the volumes of the oscillators. So LFO 5, like this. And set this to 50. So right in the middle there. And let's go into LFO 5 here. And this is actually very important. So we'll sync that to the same value, which is 4 measures. Now here, what we want to do is make sure that when it gets to the top or when it starts, it's at the lowest point. So this is a little bit difficult to figure out. So remember, this here, this is the bottom where you'll have no volume. So we want this to be where it starts. So for that, we think, okay, this would be, if you're talking about phases in degrees, this would be 0 degrees. Around here would be 90. This is about 180. And here what we want is 270. So we'll set initial phase to 270. Like this. Now let's listen to this. And what we should hear is, you should not hear that pop anymore. And as it gets close to the highest note, it should disappear. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody's with me. Okay, let's look at it through the analyzer here. So I'll just pull up an analyzer. And if you look at it here, it should start here get greater in volume, and then kind of go down. So you get the idea. Now, this looks good, but it doesn't sound like an infinite riser. What we want to do is have this kind of go in a circle, and we want 3 more of these, and we want them to be separated by an octave where they just keep going around kind of like a barber's pole or something. So let's take this, copy it, paste it, go into the mixer, input 2, 2, okay. And now all we're going to do is do the exact same thing, except we're going to change things. So we have LFO1 assigned for this, which we want LFO2, but instead of doing everything manually, just hit this which says copy, go into here, change this to LFO2. In LFO2, we're just going to paste everything. Saved us a lot of time. And let's change the initial phase. So before I started at 0 here, but let's start it a little bit higher. Let's say at 90 degrees, which would be like around here, like 25% mark. Okay, that's what we want. So it's going to go start here, go there, and then loop back around, right? Okay, and now let's do the same thing with this volume here. So copy this, change this to LFO6, open it up, paste it. Now, okay, so starting there, I need to move one forward. So I guess this is at 0. And I'm just going to mute this and check it briefly. So just hearing what's coming out of oscillator 2 and make sure there's no clicking or anything. Cool. That's what we want. Now let's copy this again. Copy, paste. We're going to do the exact same thing again. Assign this to the mixer so everything's in there. Go into here, take oscillator 2, copy it, paste it into oscillator 3. Sorry, this is getting a little bit monotonous. Hopefully it'll be worth it at the end. Let's change the initial phase to 180 for the pitch. Now let's go into the volume. Copy oscillator 6 for the volume, change this to oscillator 7, and paste that in here. And so here I think it should go up one more, which would be 90 degrees. Okay. Now let's check the next one. Make sure there's no popping and there's no the restart, you can't hear it. Perfect. Next one. Sorry, I know this is a little bit boring, but bear with me here. So this is the last one. Everything's assigned. Everything should be ready. I'm going to do the same copying, pasting that I did before. Just take this, assign this to LFO4. I did this a few days ago, and it took me forever to figure this out, how to get this to work correctly. So, yeah, I recommend don't try to just mess around with this because it takes forever. It takes some math work, and I'm terrible at math, if any of you see my channel. So hopefully this will save you some time, me showing you how to do this, so you don't have to waste your day like I did. Take this and assign it to LFO8. Paste, and this will be 180 degrees. Okay, and do the last test here. Make sure the last one's not skipping or anything. Seems like everything's good. So now let's hear it. Unmute these and let's look at the analyzer. And if I'm correct, it should look like a barber's pole illusion. So let's hear it. So that's exactly what I want. So here, because it's going so fast, it doesn't sound as good as it could. It sounds better if you go a little bit slower. So like if I cut it in half, let's say, slow my tempo down here and try this now, it should sound a little bit better. Other things you can do to make the sound a bit better are adding reverb, like this. Should add a long reverb here. I don't know. Just choose one, like this. Okay, and another thing, let me just turn the volume down here a little bit more. If you go here in advanced settings, if we add more voices, sometimes this can sound better. So here, if you look at harmony, this will just add more notes to it. So here, you see it's now offset as a fifth, but let's try an octave up. Now, let's listen to this. That's sounding good, and if I do the same thing here, let's try an octave down. I can do this. So to me, that makes it sound better. So adding those effects and things really help. So let me show you a device I'm making that hopefully will be included in MSoundfactory in the future. So here's one I made, like this. You can see you can adjust the range. So if I want to do more, let's say like 6 octaves. And before I was doing 4 bars, I think. Let's try like 16 bars. And let's change the attack a little bit longer. Actually, move this back to 100, I guess. Tempo. So it won't take quite as long. And we can go into here. Great thing about Mellow plugins, you can just double click it and you can set it according to the tempo. So let's set like 300, and let's set the release at 600, I guess. Okay, and we have all sorts of things we can change from sine wave to something else. We have the length at 16 bars here, which is much longer. And let's try down instead of up. So let's hear what this sounds like. There you go. And if you don't like that, you're thinking like, hey, that's too high, you can just move down the octaves like this. So hopefully you think that's cool. And of course, by adding the effects to it, I can add like a reverb here. I have something here. You can add extra voices like this. Let me turn the gain down. Let's see. Turn effect on. Yeah, put some reverb on there. And let's try an auto pan. The auto pan I think is cool. So let's listen to how this sounds. And it goes on infinitely, and I even have some other stuff here like rhythmic gate, so I can try something like, I don't know, this I guess. Put a chorus on there. So I can come up with something crazy like this. So if you needed like a long build-up or something, you could use this to create the interesting effect. So it doesn't have to just be some like academic nerdy thing. It can actually be used in a real piece of music, as other people have shown. So I hope you like this. If you do, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you think I should add something else to this device or instrument. And check out all the other plugins at melterproduction.com. But until next time, see you.